Hey Story Seekers, my name is Michaela Woods, and welcome to my very first book and movie review. So today I'm going to be reviewing Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. And this is the book, and this is the movie. So how my reviews are going to work is that we're going to have a review section, which is going to be no spoilers, and it's going to be strictly a review, so I can talk about the book, tell you my opinions, what I rated it, and all that crazy stuff. And the second section is going to be the discussion part, where we really get into depth into the story, and that will be chock full of spoilers. So that will be for people who've read the book and want to discuss it. So like I said, I'm going to be reviewing Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card, which is a science fiction novel. And I'm going to start off with a very quick summary. So in the distant future, aliens have attacked the Earth and almost wiped us out. But one commander found out the aliens' weakness and took them out to save Earth entirely. We would have been wiped out. So now the government is looking for the next brilliant kid to send to a military camp in space to raise into the next big commander that could save us from the aliens. And our story picks up with Ender Wiggin, who is brilliant. And then the book follows Ender through his classes and military games to see if he can be the next great commander. So starting off, the plot was fantastic. It was so smart. It was brilliant, really. And I loved seeing the world through Ender's eyes because he just saw things in ways that you wouldn't normally think of. And it was just so cool to see how he would solve problems and how he'd work his way through these complex challenges that the teachers put him through. And it was just so interesting. I loved reading about it. And I think it's one of those things where you have to read the book to kind of understand like how smart this kid is. And you just read it and you'd be like, wow, I never thought of that before. I also like the themes in this book. You know, the value of life. It had some bullying themes and, you know, the good versus evil themes. They were so fantastically just woven in there. It didn't feel like Orson Scott Card was trying to like shove me down and say this is the theme and that would be it. But no, it very nicely just flowed with the story and didn't feel like anyone was trying to physically force, you know, this theme down my throat. Now for the characters, basically our main character is Ender, and like I said, he's fantastic, he's brilliant, he's a little kind of just very serious, and saw everything kind of as a strategy, and would be kind of tough to like get to know, and that would maybe cause some issues for him. But it was really cool to see how he adapted to anything that was thrown at him and how he commanded his own army and what he learned and how he put that to use. Just so good. He was very, very smart, and I loved having him as a main character to read about. There are other characters in this book, but basically the main character is Ender, and that's really the only character that I feel is worth talking about, besides maybe his brother Peter and his sister Valentine, which were both kind of representations of good and evil. And I'll get more into that into the discussion part if you've read the book. Now the writing style. I loved the writing style. Like I said before, it was just very smart. It was also very complex, but complex without being too confusing, so I could keep up with it, and I loved it. So overall enjoyment, if you haven't guessed yet, I loved it. It was brilliant. I loved to see how Ender would overcome his problems, how he'd work everything out. I just loved reading it. I was kept on the edge of my seat. I never knew how he was going to overcome all these obstacles, and he always did. So that was really, really cool to see. So my rating for this book is a 5 out of 5 stars. And I'm very happy to give that to this book because it totally earned it. And if you haven't read it yet, I strongly suggest you do. Now onto the movie. Now let me first say that I saw the movie first before I read the book, and I feel like watching the movie first kind of helped me understand the book because there were some confusing parts in it, even though I know I'd get it without the movie, but it was a little more clear, you know, seeing it in here the first time. Now as far as the book to movie adaptation goes, I thought this was really good. I enjoyed it. The cast was spot on. The acting was phenomenal. The only bad things with it, comparing it to the book, would be that, this felt a little bit rushed, and obviously you have tons of stuff to pack into this movie, and the movie is pretty long. But considering the fact that they had so much information to put in, I didn't feel like it was rushed when I watched it, just going from the book to the movie. The book took place over, I think, maybe 6 or 7 years. Ender started when he was 6, and then I think he was 13 at the end of the book. Now he starts older in here, but unlike when they did that in Percy Jackson, I felt like this was necessary. Like having a 6-year-old actor and, having him grow up in the movies, that probably wouldn't have worked out as great. But overall, I thought that was a great decision, and Asia, however you want to say it, I don't think it's Asia, but it's how I think of it. I thought he was brilliant as Ender. I totally loved him as it, and I thought he did just a phenomenal job. I love him as an actor, so, A+. It was great. Okay, so that was the end of my review part. Now we're going to get on to the more discussion part, and there will be spoilers. So if you haven't read the book yet, I recommend you not watch this, because you will be spoiled. In case that wasn't clear, spoilers. Do not watch past this point, okay? Alright, let's move on to the discussion. Okay, so first off, I want to talk about Peter and Valentine as sort of the representations of good and evil. I thought that was so cool how that was done, and how Ender was kind of in the middle and finding out where he fit in, and how he was always so disappointed when he did something and it reminded him of Peter. Like, that was the Peter in me. Peter would be proud of me right now because that was just the wrong thing to do. But at the same time, the teachers were pushing him to be more like Peter. Not entirely, because Peter was too violent for their program. Valentine was too kind. And so you kind of got that vibe of good versus evil at the beginning. But then I also liked in the middle when that kind of got twisted around when they told Valentine to write Ender this letter telling him, it was okay, he can still go on with the program, they need him, he's brilliant. He thought Valentine, the one person that he could trust and that he loved, has also been corrupted by this government, and he just didn't know what to think anymore and was confused. And I thought that was so sad and also well done, because it's also kind of saying, good and evil isn't always so clear, right and wrong. There's hardly ever, a clear path on what is good and what is evil. The second thing that I want to talk about is this sort of theme of, kids are the future. They're bringing up kids when they're little and raising them into these new commanders. Adults, their minds are already formed, they have their own opinions and theories, and they can't really be swayed as easily as children. So if you find a great mind in a child, and how you bring it up can kind of determine who they're going to become. I thought that was super cool and well done, and I loved it. I really did. Kids really are the future. They're going to grow up to be the adults that are living now, and it's kind of scary, to see how easily corrupted they can be, and it really is all in how you bring them up half the time. Another thing that I just want to talk about is the ending. Whoa. It's kind of confusing, but at the same time it's really cool at the same time. So first part of the ending, when Ender is playing the game and he turns around and is like, yes, we did it, great job guys, and they come in and tell him basically, thank you, you just saved us, and he's all confused, and they tell him that it wasn't a game, it wasn't a simulation. He actually took out the entire planet. And I loved how he reacted to it. It was normal, it was human. He was scared, he was so upset with himself. Now remember, I saw the movie first, and when I saw the movie, I literally gasped, and I was like, that was horrible. That was horrible what they did to him. But at the same time, you can kind of understand why they did it, because as a child, Ender couldn't really, say he's killing people, and he was starting to understand that even though they're aliens, they're buggers. He understood that he was taking lives, and he knew deep down that it was wrong. And when he figured out that he took basically their entire planet, he was scared, and he really wanted to have it not be true. I found it really real. I loved it, but at the same time I was like, oh, you dickwads. Don't do that to Ender. I just loved following his character and seeing how he came up from this like naive little 6-year-old into someone who was really, really intelligent and really knew what they were doing and was conflicted about some things, but at the same time, you know, he was smart. Ender was a smart kid, and I loved following him as a character. Probably one of my favorite characters of all time. And then after that ending, they had the whole alien thing, you know, they had another queen egg that could be brought up in another planet. And now I know this is a series, and I hope to get my hands on the rest of the series, but I thought that was a nice kind of way to end it as well. You know, he's going off to find another place for this new colony to rise again. And it was cool how all his dreams came together, and he saw, like, what happened in the game and what happened in his mind, like, kind of come all together. It was just really nice how that was all put together. Everything kind of made sense in the end, but at the same time it was a little confusing. But you kind of knew what it was talking about. But yeah, overall, I loved Ender's Game. It was brilliant, and hopefully, if you've watched this far, you have read the book. So if you want to discuss more about Ender's Game, leave a comment below. I love to hear what you guys thought about it. It's a great book, and I think it's great for discussion. So if you want to talk about it, feel free. I will chat away, because probably, as you know, I like to talk. So everybody, have a great day, read a great book, and I'll see you all later. So if you guys want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Doodly, and Game Center, all at Kaylin318. You can also follow me at Goodreads, Tumblr, and Google Plus at Seeker for Stories. Don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys with my next video. Bye!